Day 2 was going great, and Chris and I jumped out in the lead. Yes, the morning was going great, and somehow we were staying together as a group. Sideways Mike was having fun. He was even using his turn signals for the corners. And the early morning scenery was spectacular. It happens even to the best. Kelly gets sideways when he hits a rock with his rear wheel, and the rest was recorded in video history.
Okay? Yeah. Something got me sideways. Yeah. And just too much sideways. I slid for the longest time and then came up to this rock. Big boulder. I had to hit the front brake, otherwise I would have hit it.
It's a good thing they build them tough. Things were straightening out, for now, and I sure was enjoying the electric grips when speeds increased in conditions like this.
Here's our roll chart. I got straight. I could actually roll ahead to 7.2 miles here because it's my next turn. And you know, until you get to 7.2, everything is straight. So you can bypass all the straights and just have the turns, save you a lot of time.
We were making much better time now, and the terrain kept changing. There was open desert like this, then there was winding through the lava fields, long rocky desert roads with sudden washouts running across them, a few wide open areas where you could turn it on, and then of course it was back to the sand. Not every rider made it through this sand. This nice and upbeat rider had the deck stacked against him. He was still running the old dual sport type tires, not knobbies like you need.
It got deeper than deep. You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
It makes me shiver just thinking about how many times he might have gone through this over the course of 2 days and so much sand.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm saying you're welcome while Ken did all the work.
Whoa, whoops. Not a good thing. Only thing worse than whoops is sand whoops. Oh, the trail goes that way. It's nice when you can get off on the side and miss most of the whoops. Kind of mandatory thing for your physical survival. Bottomless. Ah. Well, half the time it feels like I have a flat again like yesterday, but I don't. Not yet, anyway. Looks like enough clearance for mirrors. Through the tunnel we go. Someone built some rocks.
The rest of our group was well ahead, covering, you guessed it, deep sand and whoops. But along the way, they decided to stop and play a bit.
What's that?
Dan Pollock's a nutcase jumping the GS.
I'm gonna hit hard. That is so cool. Can we sit side by side? Ah, our cylinders will hit.
After jumping ahead of the rest of our group, Ken and I fell behind through a comedy of errors, the type of thing you tried desperately to avoid during this ride. This meant Ken and I had to take the bailout, the highway, into Baker, California, the next check and the next gas stop. A good friend at the check in Baker told me that the rest of our group had made it through and were on their way to Sandy Valley. After we fueled our bikes up, it was readily apparent that we were so late we'd have to once again take the bailout section, the freeway, all the way up Baker Grade to State Line and past Jean, Nevada. Sure enough, after a couple of miles on the highway, it began to rain, and we were headed toward a pass where it regularly snows. Now, over the course of 2 days of riding with the 1200 boys, I was kind of learning they might not be so straight in the head. I mean, this is not a race. No dual sport event is a race. It's a ride at your own pace ride, self-guided tour, basically. But these guys are competitors. They've been competitors for over 30 years. What they do is they race. So when most people might let off when they're getting roosted by rocks and stuff, no, not these guys. That's when they accelerate. Here's how they handled a desert road while trying to find their way back to the course. How would you like to be the driver of that car? You probably wouldn't even know what just passed you.
Hey, do I have a nose left? Is my nose still there? You got a rock hit me right here. Hey, look at that. Another rock right there. I think I'm bleeding. I think that's blood.
Oh, really? Oh.
I was tucked down. The camera's still there?
Oh, yeah, it's still on. That was some fun, wasn't it?
I had it wide open. I couldn't get over 110. The air filter must be plugged.
Yeah, at one point I was at 120.
Okay, you seem like you have more power. I couldn't get any more out of it. I had it wide open. Either that or I couldn't get any traction.
Yeah, no more traction. Look at that wheel.
Yeah.
With antics like this, it's easier to understand how we just happened to meet Dan and Mike in a gas station as we exited the interstate. We were on our way to the lunch stop in Sandy Valley, which in our case should have been a dinner stop. Dan had actually found a way to get a rock into about a 1-inch opening in the front of the motorcycle to put a hole in the oil cooler. This meant he wasn't going anywhere soon. Helly would soon be on his way with some small parts to try to fix the problem. There was nothing we could do for Dan, so it was off to Sandy Valley, and man was it beautiful. Ride the Barstow to Vegas dual sport event and you'll see endless scenes just like this of the California and Nevada desert. It just doesn't get better than this. Those clouds are dumping rain, exactly where we're headed, Sandy Valley. I saw Jeff, who I had interviewed at the start, just ahead of me, zipping by on the highway. But as soon as we came around a right turn leading up to lunch, he had a flat, most sudden flat I've ever seen anybody get. And it was second on the day for him. He'd had a front flat earlier. Before we'd eat, we'd get gas. In this remote location, it's provided as part of your entry. After that, it was time to grab a quick bite and get back on the road. The friendly people of this town are gracious enough to accept us into their community each year. They set up the gymnasium of the local school to serve us lunch. I always get a good feeling when I come through here. Each year that we leave Sandy Valley, it's up a long, and I do mean long as in multiple miles, dirt road. At lunch, or should I say an early dinner, for myself, Ken, Jeff, and the others, it was readily apparent that everybody was going to head for Red Rock Canyon. They simply were going to ride Red Rock Canyon no matter what.
So Ken and I decided late to ride through Red Rock Canyon area still. And there's a whole bunch of people in that same boat, some of them just ahead of us, some of them behind us. Basically, they've come even from out of state just to ride Red Rock. That's what they wanted to do most. Heard it all day long. Unfortunately, the course is so long and such a slow, sandy sand wash, so much of that everyone got to the last lunch and check-in very late. So it's making for an almost nighttime start even into the area. Sweep's already pulling down the banners behind us, but people are determined they're going to ride Red Rock. So we're going along. Ken doesn't have the lighting I have, so I turned on the PIA lights finally, and this white light is really nice. I found out one thing real quick. It fills up the road. I actually took the left-hand beam and I put it in Ken's lane to my left, so I'm lighting up his lane and ahead for him, and he's slightly behind me. He says it helps tremendously. And I found out quick also that the white light cuts through the dust much better than a normal headlight. So we're riding in dust right now, and it cuts it really nice. There you see the riders we were talking to. Everyone was lost earlier. I think I'm going to slow down so my brother can see here. I'll go over here. And got 3 riders in front of us down there. Call this a rocky downhill, but it doesn't have rolling type rocks. That's cool. So there's a lot of rock fields leading to the Red Rock area. Imagine that. We wanted to try to get through that when it was light, but didn't make it. But like I said, everyone's determined. They're going to do it.
We made it to the highway where you basically turn left to go to Red Rock and turn right to go to Vegas. It was 42 degrees with threatening skies. We were met by an AMA ride official who informed us that they do lock the gate to Red Rock. They weren't sure of the time, but that we stood a really good chance of getting all the way through the Red Rock Mountains, coming out the other side and running into a locked gate. This would mean backtracking through the mountains, through the cold, and possibly running out of gas. Because of this, we were forced to turn right towards Vegas and take the pavement into town.
Okay, we're on the outskirts of Vegas, almost to the finish, and it just started opening up and raining on us. Cool, just matches the day we've had. Maybe it matches the 2 days we've had. Man, I was ready to ride, and Red Rock Canyon, they closed the gates. Orleans Hosting Hotel, right there.
The finish of a dual sport event is nothing to get excited about, other than maybe now you can rest and relax. There's nobody waiting for you, and after all, every other rider has their own stories about what it took to get to the finish. And this is what the Barstow to Vegas ride creates in spades. Lifelong memories of a very special and very long ride.
Is that better?
Ones that you and your riding buddies will never forget. And on that, I guarantee it. With Dan's bike patched up, the 1200 boys and Teach headed into town by the highway. They stopped to take in some sights and eventually came into the finish just after Ken and I. Helly gives Check-in his number and meets an old friend. It's Jeff, the one we've been following throughout this ride. We didn't even know they knew each other.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Jeff?
Good.
Did you do the whole thing?
Yeah, I missed Red Rock. I got 2 flat tires.
Now it's time to load your bike and head out, or simply park your bike and head into the hotel. Either way, you'll have stories to tell for years to come. Dan tells me they think about the ride every day, and they're coming back next year no matter what.
They held up really good for what we did to them. We did some really bad things.
Would you like to get your feet wet? I mean dirty? Would you like to participate in an organized dual sport event? Well, you're in luck because BMW sponsors a nationwide series called the BMW National Adventure Series. Participating takes little more than preparing your bike for off-road use and showing up at the start. To get the details of each ride, just go to the web link shown here. Each ride varies in difficulty, so the best thing to do to match your needs, talk to the organizer. You'll find out what's on that ride, whether it's easy, harder, split sections for adventure bikes. Just contact them and you can get complete information. Like I said, rides are held across the country, including California, New York, Pennsylvania, Oregon. There's even a ride in Alaska. Like always, until next time, have a great ride.